Hello, my name is Lauren, and I'm a registered dietitian with Rock Valley Health. Today, we're going to be talking all about healthy eating for police officers. So, we have three main topics that we're going to focus on today. The first being heart healthy eating, the second being weight loss, including what a healthy timeline for that looks like and a variety of tips for weight loss, and lastly, fueling for exercise. So, first off, I wanted to talk about breaking it down into steps to creating a healthier lifestyle. So, the first step is all about making a plan. I am a big fan of writing things down, incorporating things specifically into your weekly calendar or, reminders on your phone, writing things down and putting them on your fridge or however you would schedule anything else in your daily life. Thinking about making your health and wellness and nutrition changes a priority, just like anything else in your life. So, this really comes down to making smart goals. Smart goals are something really specific and achievable and something that's really realistic for you to make sure that these goals can actually be achieved. So SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So an example of a SMART goal would be, instead of I just want to exercise more or I want to increase my physical activity, instead of just saying that goal in general, it's going to be changing it to something specific and making a plan. Like, okay, my initial physical activity goal is going to be walking for 45 minutes 3 times a week. This week, that looks like it could be, Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday after work, or even breaking it down into smaller chunks on specific days for 15 minutes or a half an hour. So that's something that's specific. It includes a specific time frame. It's measurable in terms of how many minutes you're going to walk. It's achievable because you've looked at your work schedule and how you can fit that in, as well as realistically fitting it into your schedule, and timely. You've planned out how many times throughout the week that you'd like to walk. So if you break it down to more specific things, making a more specific plan, you're more likely to stick to your goals in that regard. And lastly, after you make that SMART goal, like the example for walking, it's all about just taking action and getting out and completing that goal. Whether it's physical activity or nutrition related or any aspect of health and wellness, we still want to achieve these goals while still enjoying life. Everyone, including myself, we all have our favorite foods and things like that. We still want to incorporate those kind of things, but just being more mindful of maybe just minimizing how much we're incorporating them, but still incorporating those things just more like every once in a while, to make sure you're still enjoying those kind of things in moderation. So, realistically, I hope that out of this whole presentation, you're able to maybe think of 1 to 2 new changes that you can focus on in order to create a healthier lifestyle and healthy habits. Realistically, we want to focus on small changes right off the bat. If you make 5 to 10 goals right away, all at once, that can tend to be pretty overwhelming and less likely for those goals to actually be achieved in a timely manner. So, my challenge for everyone watching this presentation today is hopefully you can just get 1 to 2 things out of it and focus on those 1 to 2 things that you can hopefully include more in your lifestyle for overall improved health and wellness. All right, so let's move on to our first topic of heart health. So, some background information here. Heart disease is actually the leading cause of death for all Americans, and police officers specifically are at an increased risk due to stress and just the stress that comes along with that job. And so, it's really important to try to get ahead of things and decrease your risk for heart disease. Um, while making nutrition and lifestyle changes because these type of changes can really help prevent your overall risk for developing heart disease. So you're probably wondering if you're at risk for heart disease or not. These are kind of some quick bullet points to help identify some of those risk factors. So males are unfortunately just in general at a higher risk for heart disease. If you have a family history of heart disease, obviously that's going to increase your risk as well. Smoking can increase your risk, as well as obviously poor dietary habits. Um, Things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. If you have any of these conditions or know anyone in your family that does, that can increase your risk for heart disease, as well as obesity. If your BMI is, or your body mass index is above 30, or even the 25 to 30 range, this is more of the overweight category. Obese category is higher than 30. This is just telling us if you're at a healthy weight for your height. So if your BMI is 30 or higher, even that, or even that 25 to 30 range, that's the overweight or obese category, um, telling us that you're not at the healthiest weight for your height. So that can increase your risk for heart disease, being overweight or obese. And then physical inactivity can contribute to heart disease, as well as stress, like I mentioned earlier, with police officers being at an increased risk. So here are some, just a quick list of what is important for a heart healthy focus, and we're going to kind of break all of these down throughout the presentation. So it's really important to know your LDL and your HDL cholesterol levels, as well as your triglycerides. These are some good benchmarks for assessing your heart health. So your LDL is your bad cholesterol. We want to minimize this number. So for most people who are just at average risk for heart disease, the goal is less than 130. Your HDL cholesterol is your good cholesterol. It provides extra protective benefits for your heart health and helps remove a lot of that unhealthy plaque and cholesterol from your bloodstream. This For this number, the higher the better. So I like to think HDL healthy cholesterol. So 50 or higher is the goal for women, 40 or higher is the goal for men. And then your triglycerides are also important to know for your heart health. This is a measurement of fat in your bloodstream. The goal is less than 150 for that. So, for your triglycerides in general, if you're focusing on more of a heart healthy eating pattern, minimizing processed foods, which we'll talk about pretty in depth for the rest of the presentation here, that's ideal to minimize your triglycerides as well as improving your cholesterol numbers. So, heart healthy dietary focus here, we're going to touch on fruits and veggies and the importance of those, whole grains, lean proteins, and the importance of increasing healthy fats and fiber, and also minimizing your salt intake. So, in general, here is an easy visual that you can use to just focus on building heart healthy meals. So, I like to recommend just focusing on this graphic, which is called My Plate. Some of you might have seen it before. Just an easy guide of building your plate with half fruits and veggies, a quarter of the plate being whole grains, a quarter of the plate being protein, and then dairy is listed on the side, not saying that you have to have dairy with every single eating occasion, but 3 servings per day of low fat dairy is the recommendation there. So, fruits and veggies, I like to think of an easy way to remember your daily servings is just 5 a day, 5 1 cup servings of fruits and veggies. So, ideally, you should strive for getting 2 cups of fruit and 3 cups of veggies in your diet every single day. I always like to recommend just focusing on eating the rainbow, a variety of different colors, the better. Not every fruit and veggie has the same exact nutrition content in terms of fiber and vitamins and minerals. So it's a good rule of thumb to make sure you're getting a good variety to make sure you're getting all those good things in. And also, there's all of the varieties are perfectly fine to include fresh, frozen, or canned. There is nothing wrong with any of those varieties. For any kind of canned fruit or fruit cups, I recommend looking for ones with no added sugars or syrups and ones that have 100% juice. And then also for canned veggies, just looking for ones that are low salt or have no salt added on the can, or just making sure you rinse your canned veggies before consuming them. And it's really important that we get enough fruits and veggies in our diet because they're not only packed with a lot of vitamins and minerals that we need for a lot of our essential bodily processes, but they're also packed with lots of fiber. And I like to think of fiber as acting like a sponge to help soak up all the bad cholesterol in our bloodstream. So, fiber is a real powerhouse when it comes to heart health and benefiting your healthy cholesterol levels. And also, I like to think of fruits and veggies that things that are really they're nutrient dense, packed with those vitamins and minerals and fiber, but they're not very calorie dense. So they don't have a lot of calories, but they have a lot of nutrition benefits. So that is very helpful for weight loss as well. And fiber, a really important thing to note there, fiber also helps keep us full. So if you're getting more fruits and veggies in your diet, more fiber from those, you're going to be able to feel more full and satisfied from your meals, which can help with just lowering your overall calorie intake, which can be beneficial for weight loss. So next up is whole grains. So the daily goal for all types of grains is just 6 servings a day, and we want to strive for getting 3 servings of these to be whole grains. So half of your 6 servings should be whole grains. So whole grains are basically different types of grains that have the outside of the grain intact. It's kept as a whole grain. A lot of the refined grains, like the white breads, white rice, things without whole wheat or whole grain in them, they're stripped of that outer whole grain layer, which removes all the fiber and the vitamins and minerals. So it's not really doing much for us nutritionally. So I always recommend looking for whole grains as much as possible. Looking for whole on that ingredient list or the label. Things made with like whole wheat flour, whole grain. Just looking for that word whole is a really easy thing to remember with this. Um, and again, whole grains have more fiber, more vitamins and minerals than those refined white grains because they don't have that outer grain layer removed. And so, whole grains to incorporate more in your diet, these are going to be things like whole wheat breads and pastas. Quinoa is a unique whole grain. It also is a good source of protein, which is unique for a grain item. Oats and oatmeal are good whole grain options, as well as looking for whole grain cereals. And popcorn is a whole grain, as well as whole grain crackers. Things like Triscuits and Wheat Thins are popular options for those. So, next focus here is on protein. We want to focus on lean proteins, ideally to minimize the amount of saturated fat. And it's really important to minimize your saturated fat for heart health, which I'll touch on in a couple slides here. So, lean proteins, these are going to be more white meats, things like chicken and turkey. And also, an easy switch is doing a higher percent lean beef. I always recommend at least 90% lean. Also, looking for loin or round cuts of meat. These are going to be the leaner cuts of meat with less saturated fat. And then seafood is a really heart healthy source of protein as well, which I'll talk about in more depth in a little bit here. And then a good rule of thumb for protein, especially good to know if you're going out to eat or anything too, just looking for proteins that are grilled or baked versus fried, or grilling or baking your proteins in the oven at home versus frying them to eliminate a lot of that unhealthy fat for heart health. And then also some other healthy sources of protein are beans, eggs, nuts and nut butters, and low fat dairy. We want to strive for like skim or 1% milk, low fat or um, 0% fat yogurts, and reduced fat cheeses whenever possible to help eliminate that saturated fat. So we've talked about the leaner protein sources, minimizing the unhealthy saturated fat. We also want to increase the healthy fats. So, like I mentioned, the HDL cholesterol earlier, these healthy fats help support the healthy HDL cholesterol and also help improve your triglycerides, which ultimately leads to a decreased heart disease risk. So, healthy fats are in seafood, avocado, I'm a big fan of chia and flax seeds. Buying these, you can just sprinkle them or add them into a lot of different things. Nuts are a great source of healthy fat. Cooking with olive oil, and also looking for brands of eggs that have omega-3 fats, these heart healthy fats added to them. And also, another easy option if you don't think you're getting a lot of seafood or any of these foods in your diet regularly, I would recommend considering and talking to your doctor too, as well, about starting an omega-3 or a fish oil supplement. Over the long term, taking this consistently on a daily basis can help increase your healthy cholesterol and help decrease your triglycerides for improved heart health. So we've talked about minimizing those saturated fats. So this is going to be less red meats, more white meats, like I talked about earlier. Those low fat dairy products, looking for the reduced fat or skim or 1% whenever possible. Cooking with more liquid oils, olive and vegetable oils versus butter. And then we still want to enjoy our desserts and sweets, but doing so in moderation because these processed baked goods, in general, things like that, have trans fats in them. And trans fats are even worse for our heart health than saturated fat. There's actually, most food manufacturers have to abide by strict labeling laws and production laws against trans fat because it's so bad for our heart health. They have to have less than half a gram of trans fat in their foods. Um, but the main sources of these are going to be the desserts and sweets, even like the fast foods, just processed foods in general, are going to have more of these unhealthy sources of fat. So really just trying to, not having to avoid these completely, but just being mindful of your intake of them for heart health. So, the American Heart Association recommendation for saturated fat is less than 7% of your total calories per day. So, this equates to less than 16 grams per day for a 2,000 calorie diet. So, I recommend remembering that 16 grams because on food labels, if you look at saturated fat, it's already listed in grams. So, that can help you remember kind of that benchmark to look for your saturated fat intake. So the next heart health dietary focus here is on fiber. So, like I said, fiber helps to support healthy cholesterol levels. It acts like a sponge to help soak up all the bad cholesterol in your bloodstream. Fiber also helps keep you full, and we all know that fiber helps keep us regular and helps support healthy digestion. So, lots of benefits here. So, the daily goal for fiber is 25 grams per day. If you're looking at any kind of prepackaged product, I always recommend trying to ideally look for something that has 3 grams or more of fiber per serving. And if you're focusing on more of the fruits and veggies, more of those whole grains and whole grain products and beans, these three things are going to help you easily get to that 25 grams per day goal. And also, I always recommend as a dietitian, food first. So, ideally, trying to get these fruits and veggies and whole grains and beans in your diet as much as possible. But if you feel like you're still struggling with not getting your 5 fruits and veggies in a day or not doing a lot of whole grain servings or beans, there are fiber supplements available in. I recommend the powder forms of like Metamucil or Benefiber or store brands. These can be mixed with water and can be added to help support your fiber intake. And it's also important to note as you're increasing your fiber intake, you want to increase your water intake because fiber does help keep you regular, and you want to increase your water intake along with it to help minimize any uncomfortable digestive side effects. So, our last heart healthy dietary focus here is minimizing your salt intake. So, our society has a lot of salt in our diets, especially with fast foods. When you go out to eat, processed foods, prepackaged foods, there's a lot of salt. Um, and too much salt or sodium is not good for our blood pressure. It increases your blood pressure, it can cause fluid retention, and this can ultimately create more stress on your heart, which is not something that we want. So, the American Heart Association recommendation for the average American for salt intake is less than 2,300 milligrams per day, which is actually only 1 teaspoon, which is not a lot if you think about it. And salt is also hidden in a lot of, frozen meals and pizzas and things like that. So if you are finding yourself getting those kind of things, for convenience in a pinch, trying to look for ones that have less than 25% of sodium on the label. There'll be a percentage listed next to milligrams. The percent is a good guide to look for, easy number to remember. So looking for 25% or less of sodium on the label for those frozen convenience type foods. And then obviously not using the salt shaker when you're at home or when you're out to eat, minimizing fast foods and processed foods in general will help minimize your salt intake. Using individual spices to add flavor instead of salt is something to consider as well. And then there are soups and broths and a lot of canned goods that can be hidden sources of added salt. So, looking for the low sodium versions of these or the no added salt versions. And then also looking for the low sodium options to swap out for taco seasonings and other seasonings, things like that. So, moving on to our second overall topic is weight loss. So, weight loss, in my opinion, is all about creating some sort of a calorie deficit, whether that is through solely decreasing calories or increasing your activity. But usually, in my experience as a dietitian, it works well to focus on a combination of both, a combination of decreasing your calories and increasing your activity. That's going to help create a healthy, realistic calorie deficit. So, a healthy weight loss timeline that I like to focus on is only about 1 to 2 pounds per week. I always like to say slow and steady wins the race with weight loss. A lot of fad diets that are out there tend to cause quick weight loss, which is actually mostly water weight, and that can be regained back pretty quickly. And those kind of fad diets just are not realistic in the long term. They cut out a lot of food groups and things like that. Um, so healthy weight loss timeline, the slow and steadier, the better. So if you're only weighing yourself about once a month or so, expect to kind of track about 4 to 8 pounds of weight loss per month. That's on target with that 1 to 2 pounds of weight loss per week. And this 1 to 2 pounds of weight loss per week equates to about a 500 calorie deficit. So whether you're increasing your activity to burn an extra 250 calories a day, and then also slightly decreasing your calorie intake by 250 calories. Um, that can help create that 500 calorie deficit. And we'll talk a lot more here about some general tips that you can use to help decrease your overall calories without having to track a lot of different things. So, some simple weight loss tips. The first one here might sound counterintuitive, but you actually want to focus on eating consistently and fueling yourself with healthy options consistently throughout the day to support a healthy metabolism. If our body's metabolism is not at a healthy level, we're not going to be burning calories as effectively to support that healthy weight loss. So, whether if it's having 3 meals a day, 5 hours apart, or having more mini meals every 3 hours, whatever works best for your work schedule. Just making sure you're eating consistently throughout the day. That only um, not only helps support that healthy metabolism, but also helps support healthy blood sugars throughout the day as well. Second tip is also staying hydrated. So, water actually helps keep you full and can help curb a lot of mindless cravings. So, if you're struggling with mindless cravings, eating when you're not hungry, things like that, I always recommend trying to drink a glass of water first and then see how you feel after that. So, staying hydrated is definitely key. And we want to focus on limiting, the sugary, sweetened beverages, which we'll talk about next. I have some healthier swaps for those um, to help minimize those extra calories in general. And then my third weight loss tip for this part here is eating mindfully. I am a big fan of what's called mindful or intuitive eating. This is basically slowing down when you're eating, learning what your hunger and fullness cues are, and eating accordingly. So, learning what it feels like to actually be physically hungry and stop eating when you start to feel comfortably full. Our body and our brain, it actually takes about 20 minutes for that connection to be established for our digestive system and our brain to send that connection to tell our brain that we're full and we should stop eating. So, if you're eating slower, paying more attention to when you start to feel full, that can help eliminate a lot of overeating and excess calories and really focusing on only eating when you start to feel that physical hunger is an easy way to help keep your calorie intake under control without having to deprive yourself of anything. So, I touched on the importance of staying hydrated, but staying hydrated with healthier options. So, along those lines, we really want to focus on limiting those sugar sweetened beverages and limiting your added sugars in general for weight loss because there's a lot of excess calories that can come into play here. And limiting your added sugars is also important to minimize your risk for diabetes, help support healthy blood sugar levels, and that can also help minimize your risk for heart disease. So, for added sugars specifically, the daily goal for this is less than 40 to 50 grams per day. So, you'll see total sugars listed on a food label. Added sugars are listed separately underneath, but they're included in the total sugar amount. So, this daily goal of 40 to 50 grams is the added sugar amount. Added sugars are basically sugar that's directly added into a product during processing. So think of an example would be if you're making chocolate chip cookies and you're adding sugar directly into the recipe for that. So my rule of thumb is looking for not only having that less than 40 to 50 gram total per day, but looking for prepackaged products with less than 10 grams of added sugar per serving. Because added sugars these days, I feel like are hidden in a lot of different foods, things like yogurt, granola bars, things like that. So if you're looking at products that have less than 10 grams of added sugar per serving, that can help you stay within that less than 40 to 50 gram daily goal. And so, some healthier beverage swaps to stay hydrated. If you're looking for a healthier swap for pop or any sugary beverage, Zevia is one that I recommend. It's sweetened with stevia, which is a natural 0 calorie sweetener, and they have some similar um, flavors um, that are similar to a lot of different pop brands out there, like um, Dr. Zevia and Mountain Zevia, that are similar to like Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew kind of flavors, but they're sweetened with that 0 calorie natural stevia component that doesn't have any impact on your blood sugar. Spindrift is a flavored sparkling water that's made with a little bit of fruit juice. Very flavorful. They have lots of different flavors available, and that has no added sugars as well. Bubbly is another sparkling water that has a lot of different flavors, no added sugars. And then Bubbler is my go to recommendation for anyone who's trying to swap out pop but still wants a carbonated, caffeinated option. Bubbler is what's in the picture on the slide here. It has only about 5 calories per can. Um, it's sweetened with a sugar alcohol called erythritol. These are natural component sugar alcohols of no impact on your blood sugar as well. And there's a lot of fruit flavors. It's carbonated and has antioxidants, different vitamins as well. And each can has about 70 milligrams of caffeine. So, similar to a cup of coffee, definitely a healthier option to help keep you fueled throughout the day. All right, and some of my last weight loss tips here, I like to always touch on healthy portion sizes. Portion sizes are something that is taken way out of proportion in our society, especially with what you get served when you go out to eat and at fast food places. So it's really important to note what an actual healthy portion size is. So 1 cup is about the size of your fist or a baseball. This goes for anything like fruits, veggies, pastas, and cereals. So that 5 a day for fruits and veggies, focusing on just getting 5 fistfuls of fruits and veggies, that's a super easy recommendation to think of there. 3 ounces is this is a palm of your hand or a deck of cards. This is going to be for meat, fish, poultry, any kind of protein for the most part. Snack food, recommend usually 1 to 2 handfuls of any kind of snack food. Um, it's helpful to not eat directly right out of the bag, pre-portion them out, or buy the pre-packaged options for snack foods, or pay attention to what the serving size is on the label and put it in a separate bowl or a separate container that way. And then for any kind of condiments, peanut butter, butter, things like that, try to limit to a tablespoon, which is the tip of your thumb. All right, so I also like to focus on healthy snack ideas. I feel like everyone, whether you're on the go or just wanting to have more mini meals or snacks throughout the day, everyone's always looking for ideas. So, my rule of thumb for healthy snacks is always trying to pair two food groups together, a combination of healthy carbohydrates, which includes fiber, like we've talked about, and protein. The combo of the two help keep you full and help support healthy blood sugar levels throughout the day. and making sure you're getting all those vitamins and minerals in as well. So, just a couple ideas here: making your own trail mix, doing deli meat with whole grain crackers, um, fresh fruit and vegetables with string cheese, unsweetened applesauce or fruit cups, making sure those are ones that have 100% juice and no added sugars. Turkey jerky sticks or turkey jerky. This is a really easy grab and go, shelf stable protein. There's a few brands there that I like for that. And then protein or granola bars are always quick, easy options. The brands that I usually recommend are Kind, Nature Valley, or RX bars. Some more quick, healthy snack ideas here. Greek yogurt, I am a big fan of. It has more protein than regular yogurt. Oikos Triple Zero or Chobani Zero Sugar are two brands that I recommend. Just topping these with berries and granola. That can be a quick, even breakfast option or mini meal or snack any time of day. Drinkable yogurts like Chobani Complete or Too Good are quick and easy options. Cottage cheese is a great source of protein, topping that with berries or your favorite fruit. Doing veggies and hummus. Hummus is a dip made from chickpeas, so lots of protein and fiber in that to help keep you full. Popcorn is also a great healthy snack. It's a whole grain. Skinny Pop or Boom Chicka Pop are a couple of brands that are healthier. They don't have a lot of added fat or salt or anything like that. And then, just another simple idea doing celery sticks, banana, or apple slices with peanut butter to get that good combo of carbs and protein. So, moving on to our last overall topic here, fueling for exercise. So, I'm going to go through some pre workout ideas and some post workout ideas to make sure you're fueling yourself well for exercise. So, if you're looking to have a pre workout meal, this should ideally be consumed about 2 to 3 hours before your workout to prevent any uncomfortable digestive side effects. If you're looking to have a pre workout snack or you're getting up in the morning and don't want to eat a full meal before you exercise, ideally, having something 30 minutes to an hour before is ideal. And like the healthy snacks I mentioned, focusing on a combo of carbohydrates and protein. Carbohydrates are our body's main energy source, helps fuel our bodies during our workout, and protein is super important for muscle health. So, some pre workout meal ideas are oatmeal and peanut butter, and eggs and whole grain toast. If you're looking for more of a pre workout snack or mini meal idea, whipping up a quick smoothie with frozen fruit and low fat milk, doing a quick grab and go granola bar, or yogurt and fruit. So, for post workout, for exercise after your workout, ideally you should try to consume any type of meal or snack 30 minutes to 1 hour after to allow your body to have adequate calories and protein to help support recovery after your workout. So, if you're gonna have a workout and then go straight to work or run errands afterwards or something, making sure you're bringing food and water with you to refuel in a timely manner is super important to focus on here. So, just some quick post workout meal and snack ideas. Again, combining the carbs and protein. Chocolate milk is a great combination of the two to help refuel, as well as a bagel and peanut butter or a quick turkey sandwich. All right, so just bringing it all together here, my recommendation is going back to those SMART goals. Hopefully, everything we talked about, you're able to pick out 1 to 2 new things that you can either incorporate more into your dietary pattern or some new things you can incorporate into your overall lifestyle to help making those small changes to a heart healthier lifestyle. But I always like to say it's important to focus on balance, and it is totally okay to still enjoy all foods, but just focus on enjoying them in moderation and just overall being more mindful of your daily eating habits in order to create a healthier lifestyle. So I hope you gained some new practical tips throughout the presentation, and thank you for watching.